All right, so what does the political road ahead look like for former President Trump and for President Biden now? Let's bring in Larry Sabato. He's the founder and director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics. Larry, of course, we've already checked in with you a couple of times throughout the previously wild events of this election season, which we thought were mostly about President Biden's ability to hold the office or at least debate his opponent. Now, after the assassination attempt, I mean, are you with those who say this is just the end of it, that Trump is now a shoo-in, it could be a landslide, or do we need to pause and think more deeply about this?
Oh, no. Look, so many things can happen between now and November. We all know that. And so much happens in a day anymore. So I think that's very foolish if people are actually saying that. I would say Trump was essentially tied before the debate. And the debate was such a disaster for Biden that it pushed Trump up a little bit, at least a couple of points. And then we came to the disaster on Saturday. I don't have any fresh polling data that shows that Donald Trump benefited from it, but I think he probably would. It played out in his favor, though I'm sure he would have preferred not to have had it happen. But that's going to help him. Then he's got a convention that is completely unified behind him. I don't think there'll be a peep of opposition. And he's going to unveil a vice president that most people won't know well. I guess they'll know Rubio to a certain degree if it's Rubio. They won't know much of anything about either Vance or Burgum. And that generally, if the attention holds to that person, generally can add a point or two. So I expect there will be a bounce. It may not be enormous, but it's going to be real. And we've had recent elections where there's been no convention bounce at all.
So let's talk then about the potential swing, the vice presidential selection that you were just speaking about. The fact that he actually, as I understand it, rewrote the speech he was going to give to kind of tone it down and make it more of a unity building kind of thing. Nikki Haley is now at the convention. I mean, they've responded very quickly to change what they're going to emphasize this week, and perhaps that also will contribute to how people feel about this, several weeks from now. And also, of course, we're waiting at the same time to find out if there's any more developments on the Biden side.
Yes, look, I don't think any political convention nominating a candidate for president is going to be full of rainbows and unicorns. And that's not what people expect. But what they expect now may be a lessening of the vituperative language that has become so standard in American politics, and it's not healthy for our society. So this is all to the good if it happens. And of course, then you have to ask the question, how long will it last? And I would just urge people not to bet that it will last the whole campaign. But anything will help. Anything will help. So I think that's a plus for the Republicans. On the Democratic side, what happened to former President Trump on Saturday seems to have quieted some of the opposition to President Biden moving on for another term as the nominee. But I have to tell you, suppose those bounces that I mentioned from the events that have happened, debate, the assassination attempt and good convention, vice president, et cetera. Suppose they add up to, 4 or 5 additional points for Trump. He's already ahead. I'll bet it revives the talk that Biden's got to move aside and somebody with more oomph has got to run.